Hey everyone, welcome back to Shattering Ceilings. It's Lauren.
And Megan. And today we are here to talk about your goal setting and writing down that vision for 2023.
Right. So the first episode of this year, we talked a lot about vision and, really figuring out where you're going, but not so much the how. Now we kind of want to bring that back, talk a little bit more about vision, but also talk about how we're going to use that vision to set goals and intentions for this year.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So since we last talked to you guys, Lauren and I have both done our goal setting for the year.
Mm-hmm.
And Laura, I think you've actually taken the next step and broken those goals down into actionable steps. And that's
Yes.
something that I'm doing tonight, actually.
Nice.
But we want to talk a little bit about how we did our goal setting for the year because
Mm-hmm.
we did it differently. So Laura, why don't you tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about what you did?
So first off, let's just say this. Okay. So human design wise, I am a
Mm,
specific manifester and Meg is non-specific, meaning that
correct.
when it comes down to my goals, to my vision, not only do I have to say, like, for instance, I want a new office. I want a new office with black, white, and gold accents. And I want to have a really cool desk that's, 6 feet long and 4 feet wide. And, I want my chandelier, a certain way. Like I have to
Mm-hmm.
be detailed, which can be a little exhausting at times, right? Think about it.
But you're also really great at holding the vision for it. Like you are the vision
Mm,
queen, right? So like when you think I want
mm-hmm,
a new office, you can picture it.
mm-hmm,
Where I, on the other hand, as a non-specific manifester, if I try
mm-hmm.
to start to picture those minute details, like I get so caught up because I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what color I want my office chair to be. Should it be green? Should it be plush? Should it be, but like
Right.
I need to know as a non-specific manifester how I want to feel in that space.
Yes. Which
So
I
less
think
focus on the detail, more focus
more
on the
than,
feeling.
and I think we all need that. Like that's a good
For
reminder for
sure.
everybody that you, after your vision's created, it's really like, how do you want to feel in those moments or feel in
Mm-hmm.
that place or whatever it is, right? So anyway, it was really nice. I didn't have any children for like 2 hours. And I took the time. I got, I put on some vibey music, lit some candles. I got real into it. We talked about this, right? Didn't we talk about like getting like in a bubble?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you may have gotten bubble bath. I didn't do the bubble bath thing,
I did
but
it.
but I did put on the vibey music and lit the candles, right? And I just tried to meditate on again what I wanted for 2023 and then what I wanted to feel, right? Because again, it's those feelings that are really going to create that vibration that's going to attract it into our lives. So once I did that, I got my notebook and I wrote out what 2023 looked like. So actually, I wrote it from the stance that 2023 was about to be over. And I was reflecting upon the year. And I also broke it down into specific things like, business, family, relationships, travel. Like I broke renovations on the house actually is like a section, there. So I broke it down into like what happened in 2023. So again, like, really working on manifesting it by imagining that it was already done and then putting myself in those feelings, right? Of being there. And then I did that first. And then a few days later, about like 3 or 4 days later, I got a vision board, like a, regular poster board. If you've never done one before, you just literally print out or cut things out of magazines and words and whatever you want, words, pictures, you can take your own pictures. And I created a vision for, my year to match what I wrote down in my journal. So that's how I did mine.
I love that. I wish I could do a vision board. I used to get so much anxiety about that as a teenager because I felt
Really?
like,
Some people
I'm like,
do.
I need a vision board. And I tried to
Hmm.
make a couple and they just don't work out. I get to the
Hmm.
end of it and I'm like, none of this makes sense.
Yeah. But does it have to all the time? I don't know.
No, for
Hmm.
sure. It doesn't.
Hmm.
Um, But so I did something a little bit different. I love this exercise that you did, Lauren. And actually, Aaron and I had anticipated doing it, and we had
Hmm.
some life stuff come up where we didn't actually have the time to sit down and do that yet.
Hmm.
And we made the decision this year that we wanted to do goal setting together because we have found that our manifestation process works a lot faster. And listen, we're still beginners at this,
Right.
but we're better at manifesting things together than we are apart. Um,
Mm. That makes sense though,
So
right? You're putting more energy collectively, like just like we talked about before, like
yes.
being in a container like we're in right now for, our current coaching group. It does go faster when you have, multiple people and their
Mhm.
energies coming into that one space, even if it's not the same goal in like that instance, it's still like progress. It's still movement forward, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm,
And so we created goals together and we
mhm,
broke it down into sections just like Lauren did. So we did a family section, we did a relationship section, and then we did our each like our individual section. And
mhm,
only did like a couple of goals in each because I
mhm,
don't know about you and everybody's different in this, but something that I am notorious for is creating a very long list of goals and then
mhm,
getting overwhelmed by that list and not knowing where to start and
mhm.
allowing that to kind of take over and then I don't start. So this year we were
Right.
really careful about just like in each section there were just like 2 to 4 goals. And
Mhm,
then our next step, which we're doing tonight, is going to sit down and start to break down, we've got the vision, we've got the main goal. How do we
mhm.
break that down into like micro goals to help us get to the end game?
Right.
Um,
I love that. I think that's a great idea. I did that too. I started to. And again, this is like a process that's not just going to happen once this year. It's going to happen a few times over the year. Of course, it's
mhm.
either you have new goals or you meet those milestones, right? And those micro goals that you have. Now, there's one thing I do want to talk about because I'm seeing this pop up, right? And I don't know about you, Meg, but I'm seeing it pop up with different people that I coach. And that is where okay, so we wrote out the vision, right? And now maybe we're starting to think like, what's the next step, right? Again, either creating those
Mhm.
micro goals or, how are we going to get there? Who are we going to be there with? Like, whatever it may be. And
Getting caught up in the how.
yeah, getting caught up. And then it's like paralyzing, right?
Mhm.
I'm seeing that a lot. And I know that, this is mid January. So by no means do you have to have the whole plan figured out right now. And it is also good if you do start moving a little bit, right?
Right. Maybe don't know all the steps, but we at least want to know our first step at this point. Like, what is
Right.
that first smaller goal that you can attain to get you to the next step? Because we've got to start moving that needle forward.
Mhm.
So, I think what Laura's talking about, and I've seen this too. I've had a couple of conversations where like people are so caught up in that they haven't actually started moving towards their goals. Right.
Mhm.
So now we're mid January and maybe that guilt or that shame or whatever feelings that are coming up for, you
Mhm.
or whoever may be resonating with this
Mhm.
is that like I don't know where to go and so they're not going anywhere. They're
Mhm.
still sitting on those goals or sitting in that period of reflection, right? And starting to like
Right.
get very self-critical and
Yes, the
question
limiting
your ability
beliefs.
to be capable. Yeah, right. Like questioning your
That's coming up.
capabilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I do this all the time.
Yeah.
I'm great at making self-limiting beliefs that keep me
I
from
think
moving forward.
right. I think we all can, identify with that. I think the other thing
Mhm.
is too, like, we're coming off of like a couple weeks maybe where it was more lax and chill and you were celebrating and it was, the holidays and all that. And
Right.
it's always again, an object in motion will stay in motion, right?
Yes.
But when you stop and you kind of like sit, somewhere longer, like it's going to be harder to get moving again.
Right.
And it's going to take more motivation, right? But the one thing I
Mhm.
can tell you is, you have to start that process and you got to figure out what you need to start moving again. Like what is going to motivate you, right? To start taking those next steps.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And
for
have a
what do
plan for that. So
yeah, as I
like
say, what
there
do you
we
do,
need to
Meg?
have structure in that. So I'm still figuring this out cuz
Mhm.
like to be totally honest, I get derailed pretty easily
Mhm.
and it's getting better,
Mhm.
but I actually so you guys will be hearing a podcast from us in a couple of weeks from Amanda Nelson,
Mhm.
who created the 60 Days Away journey and like wellness brand.
Mhm.
She talks about like having a plan for when you get derailed. Right. I was listening to one
Mhm.
of her podcast episodes. And so that's what I'm doing. Like it's
Mhm.
easy to get derailed. You have a kid that gets sick. You have, a change in your job or family like something pops up, right?
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, well, you haven't gone to the gym in the week, and it was your goal to go to the gym 3 days a week for the whole year.
Mhm.
So having a plan, like, okay, I am going to put my shoes on as soon as I get off work, like bring my shoes with me, bring my
Right.
outfit with me to work. So I take away that that middle piece
Right.
of going home to get changed for the gym before I go to the gym. Like, but having an action plan for when you do get derailed, and don't get stuck in all the bullshit that comes up.
Right.
Like,
Right.
don't get stuck in your head about why you got derailed or how it happened, da 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 da.
Right.
Just get back on board. Get back on the freaking train.
Yeah. And I think another thing too, like besides limiting beliefs and, you know, and then again, inaction, all those kind of things, being derailed. The other part is too, like, again, going back to like knowing the how and feeling like, oh, but I don't know how to do this. You know what I mean? And I need to research and research and research and research till I figure it out. And that, guys, can be like, for me, if I go down that rabbit hole, like somebody's got to come pull me out, right? Because sometimes I can get stuck there for a while. And the thing is, like, messy action, starting messy is still action. Right. And again, it's getting into, it's like that muscle memory. You just got to start. You just got to move. Right. And you will get better. And like the reality is, guys, like we're going to be, if you know, hopefully if we're doing this right, improving our whole lives and getting better at whatever it is. Right. I mean, I hope that is my thing, right, in life. You know, I hope, you know, years and years of that. But I think we just have to start, you know?
Yeah, just be in action and let go of the judgment around it. Like we talk about this a lot. Let go of the judgment of yourself, let go about the fear of judgment that other people might be placing on you or, you know, whatever, because none of that shit actually matters. What matters is that you have a goal and you're trying to get to it. What do you need to do to get that goal? So set the goal, break it down into something that is realistic, something that is sustainable. You know, you just can't say like, oh, I want to start lifting weights. Okay, how does that look? I want to go to the gym 3 days a week. I'm going to hire a personal trainer. I'm going to like whatever that is for you. You have to break it down into smaller things so that there's no question. You don't have to sit there and figure out, you know, how are you going to make this goal happen? You know.
Yeah.
Because you just have the structure in place.
Right. And you just brought up a good point. Like hiring the personal trainer. Guys, like there's going to be things like there is plenty that I do not know, but or in my goals that I need to figure out or I need help. Right. And I know that asking for help, it's not one of my favorite things. I am getting better. Right. I'm getting better at it. I know for me with practice, I know specifically for even my human design, I'm a manifester. We do not like to ask for help. However, we are most supported and efficient when we have a team behind us that is helping us, right? So, you know, think about whatever your goal is. Do you know someone who's maybe done or, you know, doing what you want to do or been to where you want to go or, you know, whatever it is, right?
Right. Do you know somebody that's great at accountability that you could say, hey, I'm going for this goal. Can you check in with me once a week to see where I'm at?
Yeah, I think it's so important. And honestly, it can't be said enough, right? We all need, you know, help. And the thing is, like, there are people that are literally waiting for us to ask for that help so that they can live out their purpose and whatever that is, you know, by helping us with whatever that is. I know for me personally, that is something that I am going to be doing more is right. Informing.
Same. It's so stressful, like to think about it, but it's just like with anything else, you know, it's a muscle that you have to flex. You have to work it so that it becomes more comfortable. I hate taking help. I feel like I should know how to do everything on my own. And if I don't, then that means there's something wrong with me. Right. Like, and then it's simply not true. And I'm aware of this. And now finally in my 30s, I'm like, wait, bitch, like you help other people. You tell people all the time, why didn't you ask for help? Why didn't you ask for help? But like, I forget that about myself. And so you just got to start, right? Or like when somebody offers, like be willing to receive it. When it comes to you and someone's like, hey, I can help you with this. And you're like, oh, no, it's okay. I got it. Don't do that so that you're not a burden, right? If someone offers you help, fucking take it. Because not only are you going to get a step closer to where you want to go, you're also opening up that line of communication. So now, okay, that person's helped you out. They may need help sometime. And then you can say, hey, I can help you out in this. And you create that dynamic in your relationship. So now you're building your village.
Yes.
Right? We're creating that community of people who are helping each other, boost each other up to get to where they want to be.
Absolutely. And that's really where the community comes into play. And like, again, like you said, that's how you build it, right? Like what you seek is seeking you. You have to do it first sometimes, right? You have to put it out there so that, again, it creates that village, it creates that community. I love that.
Yeah. So guys, here's the actions for today, right? We painted the vision. Now that you have that vision, set your goals. Break those goals down into smaller goals that you can work on a daily basis and start etching away at that bigger goal. Okay. So set aside probably like an hour or two. Realistically, it's going to take, unless you're going to spread it out over several days, like
Right.
give yourself
Sometimes
ample
I got to come
time.
back to it. You know what I mean? And sometimes it takes some reflection, but again, not getting stuck in that reflection,
Don't
not
get
getting caught
stuck
up in
in
the
it.
how, and setting dates is always great too, for
Yes.
whatever these goals are, right? Especially even like when you're breaking down the smaller ones. I think that's even sometimes more important because
Right.
you have the big one and yes, that should have a date, but at the same time, like there's other things that need to come first, that
Right. It's harder to know the timeline on the big goal because
yeah.
you don't actually know how long it's going to take you to get through those smaller steps to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So put timelines on the smaller goals before you put a timeline on the big goal. And something that I heard the other day in a podcast, actually, that I know I am going to be doing, because I don't know about you guys, but like I'm real great about setting a goal and then forgetting about it. Right. So two things that I'm going to be doing is checking in on those goals. I made sure to write them down in a place that I can access easily and put it in a journal that I'm going to keep with me all the time and that I have been keeping with me all the time, so that when I have a few minutes in the day, I can get back to that and look at it, right? So then you're holding that vision.
Yes.
Right. You're
It's so
reminding
important.
yourself of that big vision. Number two, and this is the advice that I heard, and I'm like, this is fucking genius. At random dates and times throughout the year, put reminders in your phone to say, hey, is what you're doing right now helping you get closer to, X goal? And so then when those pop up, there's two situations that could happen, of maybe more. But one, you're sitting on the couch eating a bag of chips, right? And your goal was to stop eating processed foods this year. You have that reminder that kicks in that's like, oh shit, right, that was my goal. Okay, let me put this back and pick a better snack. Or you're making a nice healthy meal, full of colorful vegetables and lean proteins. And you're like, fuck yeah, I am. What I'm doing right now is bringing me one step closer to the goal. So regardless of whatever's happening in that moment, you're getting that check-in, you're getting that reminder. And I think it could be really helpful.
I think so too. And the other thing too, I think this goes without saying, like, guys, we are going to get derailed at times, right?
yeah.
Like that should be something that you already know, so that when it does happen though, you're not like beating yourself up and like, oh my gosh, and taking yourself further off the track, right? Like acknowledge it. All right, I got derailed. It's time to reset. We get back on the horse again, right? Like that's kind of like, and that's normal, right? We don't have to be a failure because we ate a bag of chips and we're supposed to be eating healthy. You know what I mean? Like, no, you just start over again. That's normal and that's okay. And I think, if we can all give ourselves permission and give each other permission, right? to have make mistakes and start over, like, we could really change a lot of things.
Yeah. And it's just so, while you're doing this, while you're working towards your goal, we're still doing that mindset work so that when we do catch ourselves getting derailed, it doesn't turn into a tailspin, right? Because you have those tools in your toolbox, those muscles that you're flexing in smaller situations to be like, oh, right, okay, this does not mean anything about me because what I'm doing right now is not moving me closer to my goal. All this means is that I needed the reminder in this moment.
Yes.
Right? So thank you for the reminder. Check, I'm back on track. And that is it. Anything else that happens around that is all story that you create.
Yeah.
The actual facts are, I did or didn't do what I was setting out to do. And boom, now I've got the reminder and I'm back on track. And I'm choosing to do what I set out to do.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Right. I think that's so important. A lot of life is what you choose to see it as. And you hold the pen, guys. It's a brand new year. Yeah. You hold the pen. So
you hold the pen and you can erase and rewrite at any given point.
Absolutely. Okay. Awesome. Well, we shall see you next week, guys.
Yes. Bye. Bye.